This is Early Break with Sip and Jake, sponsored by Gaina Trucking.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you, Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, Early Break. Full show ahead. We have finally, Sip, for the first time in a while, our true Double Barrel Wednesday is back with Sean Callahan and Parker Gabriel. They both were on different vacations at some point this month, but they're both back today. It's football season. Gears up the end of the week. How about that?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
When things get back to normal, the gang gets all back together.
Yeah, are things getting back to normal?
We're
here.
We are
Yeah,
here.
we're here. I got coffee, and you're here, and you're not leaving for a while.
No, I'm here. I'm here for a long time.
I missed
time.
Missed a ticket meeting. I got to tell the powers that be here that we
Did
did
you have an
a
excuse, or were you?
yes.
just
No, we
bored?
had a Lincoln Journal Star
Oh,
meeting
okay, that helped.
that ran way into the night, or not into the early evening. Into the early
Into the
Parker,
night.
into the early evening. Parker will verify that.
Okay, I'm not trying to deny it. I'm not saying that I don't believe you. That's not the words coming out of my mouth.
Defensive right now.
No.
I'm being very.
Oh, you're defensive?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not being attacking by any means. You're being defensive for a non-attacking person right now.
Okay.
Like you're just creating your own defense for
I
no
do
reason
that all
at
the
all.
time.
Yeah,
I do that all the
I
time.
got it.
Well, what are we going to talk about today? Run it down.
We got a lot of stuff to get to. We'll get to more of Texas, Oklahoma officially applying for the SEC, and there's some thoughts that they might, that right now it'd be 2025 that they would get in the SEC. There's some thought they might push to get in as early as next year. Is that going to be possible? Talk about that. We'll talk to Sean Callahan. We'll have the mailbag, and we'll also talk about a little bit. We'll go down the NIL track once again for Nebraska.
Yeah, we don't have to, but we'll.
Oh, we're going to. Parker Gabriel, then also, did you know tomorrow's the NBA draft?
Yeah, I did know that.
I look at the mock drafts. I don't know many players involved in this year, but there's always a lot of foreigners you don't know about because you don't see them play in the States. But the guys from America, college players, just not a great draft class, if you ask me right now. From the guys I see,
hold on.
that's my takeaway.
Well, hold on. Now, I know you're doing 3 things because Big Sky's
Seven
gone.
things.
7 things, but it's incongruous what you just said.
Why?
Because you don't know the players, but you say they're no good. Now,
that's a sign that if I don't know them, they can't. It's not that good of a class.
That's not a sign. It's a sign that you just don't know if they're any good or not.
Agree to disagree.
No, you don't know. You can't say it's a bad class when you don't even know who's in it.
I'd say it's not like a star-studded, impressive class where I look forward to seeing all these guys
go. I'm not going to let
go.
you go on this one.
But,
you cannot call a group of players bad that you've never seen play. You can't assess it like, well, I've never heard of him, so he must not be any good.
The intrigue of the players at the top of the draft is not like it's been in some years in the past.
That's a lot different than saying it's a bad draft.
The year that you had LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Carmelo, I mean, that was an awesome year.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I know that was 18 years ago.
Right. Yeah. You got to stop the NBA thing right now. All right.
No, I don't watch the NBA that much.
I know you don't, and you don't know the draft class.
And I really
you're trying to evaluate talent, which is really odd. That the guys you've never seen.
I feel like I'm pretty good at that.
Guys
get talent evaluator.
If they wouldn't, you wouldn't even know Jalen Green if he walked through the ticket door. And
not a chance.
And he might be the second pick.
Not a chance.
Right. We played in the G League. Of course, you don't know who he is. Some of these guys play overseas. You're not going to see him. It doesn't mean they're no good.
That's why I'm shocked that the interest is so high. I mean, this is a G League player that's going to go potentially second overall. No one's seen him before. Who watches G League basketball?
The NBA people have seen him.
Yeah, but if you're trying to get the casual fan to watch, they don't know who the hell this guy is in the G League. Yeah,
this is a strange.
I'm just telling you, that's where I stand on it.
Take a deep breath.
No, I'm serious about it.
You can't get your thoughts together because you're doing 7 different things, but your thoughts are crazy right now.
Oh no, they are set straight. They are set straight right now.
And it's not about they're not selling not trying. Oh, come on, what are you talking about? Casual fan trying to sell them on what? They're just drafting the guy. I mean, come on.
I'm just saying. I stand by what I said.
I know what's going on. You're a very anti-NBA right now.
I'm not a huge NBA guy. Right. You're right. Yeah, that's been pretty evident on the airwaves the last couple of years, hasn't it?
Especially, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to that later on, I'm sure, a little bit.
Okay.
But you can always watch the show, as always, on the Sauter Heyman Jewelers video stream on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, or you can call or text the show at 402-464-5685. I got to admit something real quick off the bat here. Last night was a slow night for me after I got back from the work meeting, and my wife wanted to watch the Olympics. I tried to do it. I tried to sit down and watch it with her, and I just can't do it. It's just not interesting to me. The swimming,
Katie Ledecky.
Yeah, she got smoked, but I saw that race. She got smoked. She didn't finish in the top 3. Didn't get a medal for the USA. I just struggled to get into it. And maybe I'm just not a swimming guy, or just a non-normal sports guy. Like, I love football, I love baseball, I love basketball, and then you see some basketball a little bit in the Olympics. But I just am struggling to sit down and find actual interest in the Olympics. I know you haven't watched it all, so you don't have interest either. Did you enjoy it?
No.
Exactly. Am I like a bad American for saying that or not?
No, I don't know what to tell you on that. I didn't. Okay, I
get bored really quickly watching it. I try to give it a chance. Say, all right, let's do this. Let's watch swimming. I love Rowdy Gaines. He's a great analyst. He's hilarious on the commentary for swimming. He's really good. But that doesn't do enough for me to watch the whole offense.
I would like to hear what people say about it. Our listeners, are they on the text line, especially? Are they watching? Are they enjoying? It?
Yeah, I haven't heard people really saying that. I've asked people, before if they're watching the Olympics, and I don't hear a ton of people saying, "Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm watching it all the time. I'm watching as much as I can." I don't hear that as much this year.
So why not though?
I wonder if a little bit. I wonder if a little bit's because of not many fans are there. There's very few fans that are at the Olympics, and so it's not quite the same buzz and the same.
I didn't even want to
turn on there.
Yeah, I didn't want to turn on volleyball and watch him play in an empty arena. I didn't even want to.
It's weird.
No, it could be. It's because it's weird, but it's also just. It's just a reminder of where we're at. I just don't want to deal. I just don't want to see it. God, does that sound bad? Does that sound terrible?
No, this goes back to last year a little bit, and we did watch sports last year, but it still felt really weird.
Yeah, I didn't like watching the NBA.
It didn't feel the same without fans in the stands.
No,
and the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics are all about fans, right? Those are packed stands and all those events. Track, for the most part, swimming. There's some good crowds there. They pan the crowds, and when that country wins a medal and they got fans there, they're going crazy. That's fun to see. And this year, you're seeing videos of people in Alaska back home, not at the Olympics, but at home. And a cool scene when the 17-year-old the other night won the gold medal in swimming. But it's not the same thing as being there and having all the fans in attendance.
I agree. What any immediate response from our early listeners?
Doc says it's definitely hard watching the Olympics with no fans. I agree with you guys. Heather says, I enjoy the Olympics, but it's hard to watch when you already know the results due to the time change. When you hear this stuff in the morning, they show it at nighttime in terms of what's going on. Another one says, part of the Olympics is the fans and the people from different countries sitting together in the stands. When they don't have that, they don't really have much. That's my point, is that you get to see all these fans interact from different countries and celebrate when their person does well. And that's not happening this year. It's not happening. So it's hard. You can't show the fans. You can't pan to the crowd and their excitement.
Okay.
That's where I stand with that. Someone says, I'm with Jake. Thank you. None of it really intrigues me. There needs to be a popular face performing that's chasing records. Michael Phelps chasing all those golds is the last time I really cared.
Okay. All right.
That's where we stand on that. Just had to get it out of the way there real quick.
I appreciate
Is
it.
that fine?
Yeah.
Okay. 464-5685. Call or text as always. So yesterday, again, we've been talking about this for quite some time, or at least the last week. We've talked about it a lot in the
Seems
last
like
week.
quite some time.
It feels like we talked about this for a month because it's been the storyline since last Thursday or Friday, right? The Oklahoma-Texas situation.
Yeah, it was Thursday.
And it feels like it's been a month because it's been so much happening in a short amount of time.
What happened? I can tell you what happened. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Thursday. So it was Thursday
Yeah,
afternoon.
give us the timeline.
But here's what it is broken down. It was broken. The story was broken by the Houston newspaper, the Houston Chronicle, on Thursday afternoon. Brent Zwienerman, and you can bet where it came from. Have you pondered this? Have you pondered this? It was an anonymous source to the Houston Chronicle. Who do you think that was, if you had to guess? It's pretty obvious. It should be pretty obvious. I don't know this for a fact, but think about it. Who would be interested in leaking that story to the Houston Chronicle? Who would say, I want to put a fly in this ointment? Texas and Oklahoma aren't going to get away with this behind the scenes. We're putting it out there. We're going to put a fly in this ointment.
Well, there's
Come on.
a couple options.
Go ahead.
Are you going for a university or a person here?
I'm going, well, both.
Mike Gundy.
No, that's not a bad guy.
That's not a bad. He wants to be together with Oklahoma State.
Go ahead.
Right?
Think about which school is probably most upset by
A&M.
this. Yeah. AD Ross Bjork calls up Zwienerman, or somebody on behalf of Ross Bjork, the AD at A&M. And then there you go. There it is. Brett Zwienerman has a gigantic breaking story. And now it goes from there. So now what you have, by the way, you just said the news, but what you have essentially is it's just one of those deals that we often have in college football and sports in general, is a lot of people talking like me and you,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of anonymous sources, and the principals aren't saying anything. So it leads to a ton.
Just a lot of gossip here.
Well, it's a lot of speculation.
Well, gossip and speculation.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the principals aren't getting involved.
Right. You don't know, like you would wonder, for instance, how did this all crop up? When did it all crop up?
How long has it been cropping up for?
It sounds like, according to various reports, 6 months. It's been in the works for 6 months. What led to it? Well, one theory that I heard yesterday that you'd be interested in is that the ball got rolling, in part at least, because it became clear to the Big 12 that BYU and Nebraska weren't interested.
Okay.
And that was, I wouldn't say that the impetus, but that might have been a factor in this. Nebraska, BYU. I mean, well, let me ask you this: what do you think the chances are of Texas and Oklahoma staying around if BYU and Nebraska were part of a package to increase the Big 12 to 12 teams?
Well, I think it's better, but I don't know if it's enough to keep it. If the SEC is a big draw, let's be real. The SEC is a major draw.
Right.
There's no way around that. I know it's the evil empire, but sometimes you want to join the evil empire.
Right. No, you got to. Your reaction's appropriate. When I heard that,
I'd say it might change a little bit, but not enough to say, "Oh yeah, we're staying in the conference."
If Nebraska were really rolling,
right? If Nebraska were good, just say that.
Right.
If Nebraska was good,
yeah. If they were really rolling, then it would be much more appealing for Texas and Oklahoma. But BYU's not going there. Okay, so here's the other question. If you were BYU and Nebraska's not part of the equation, who would you partner with that would be really meaningful? I just don't. Who is that? I just don't. I mean, and there's going to be the normal candidates. You could say Cincinnati, Houston, Memphis, UCF, USF, all that.
Maybe all the AAC.
Yeah,
schools.
or you might even go into the Pac-12 and say, "Well, come on, Sip. What about Arizona State?" No, not now.
Nope,
they're in
right
trouble.
now, yeah,
Arizona. Utah, no. Nebraska, BYU would have been interesting.
But I don't think it would have changed
Texas and Oklahoma's
No.
mind.
I think. I mean, yeah. If you have a chance to go to the SEC with as those schools to see what A&M's, they're doing okay. They're not doing great, but they're doing okay in the conference. And Texas is like, we're better than A&M. Like,
I think you have. I think your reaction's the appropriate
yeah,
one.
I think they would have paused and said, okay, still going though.
I think. I
don't even know. Pause.
I don't even know if that's the case. That if that's just a theory that I heard from, I would call him an insider. It's just a theory, though. Again, it's a lot of people speculating.
Yes.
The other thing that I heard yesterday that was interesting, I told you over the phone, was the Big 12 remaining schools aren't big on the notion of Houston becoming a member of the Big 12 because they have that automatic, gigantic advantage of the Houston Metroplex recruiting. Now, if you attach,
but isn't that good for your conference though?
No, it's good for Houston mainly. It gives them the main advantage.
Yeah, but if you want your conference to be perceived as still respectable, you add that team, they gain all that.
That's good. I mean, I get
all that.
That's a way. That's a way to look at it.
Power 5 accolades.
That's a way to look at it. Unless you're the coach at Iowa State, and you say, "God, yeah, they got a quite."
Okay, why aren't they Power 5? If they have all that potential to be.
Because it's
a great team. Why can't they be a Power 5 team?
Houston. It's Houston. I mean,
if I were the Big 12 trying to save that conference, yeah, I would go after Houston. I would say get those guys in the conference. If they can be a potential monster,
yeah,
why wouldn't you want that in your league?
Well, maybe I disagree with you.
Does it give you a chance at getting a playoff team eventually? Is that your best chance of the playoff team if you lose Oklahoma and Texas? Iowa State's good now. Can they be good for a long time?
I don't know. I've never heard anybody make such a passionate plea to put Houston.
Well, I'm surprised. If people think they could be a monster, why wouldn't you put them in the Power 5?
Because you got to compete against them. It's easy in your chair to say that, but you don't have to compete against them.
But Houston's like, all right, if you're scared of us, that's great. Let's put us in there and see if we can actually back up the fear that we're imposing on you.
Yeah, right. I don't think that's the way that people look at it.
I don't know why. Everything you're saying would spell like that Houston would want to be in the Power 5.
No, it's not. Not if you're the coach at another school. If you're Jake Sorensen and you're just looking on from 70 million miles away and you have no stake in anything, yeah, it looks beautiful. But if you just don't say, "Oh, that team has a great advantage. Let's bring them in."
God, I'm confused really? Why you wouldn't want that team in your conference if it's going to elevate you.
It's
again.
Incredible. I've never heard anybody make this passionate a plea for Houston.
If you're saying they can be a monster, then why should they be left in the
AAC? Where were you 2 days ago on this?
I didn't have a passionate take about it. I didn't know that people were scared of Houston out
because
there.
You've never thought about it.
No, I didn't
know.
And
now all of a sudden they should be the flag bearer for the Big 12.
I wasn't aware 2 days ago that the Big 12 teams
please
are
take
scared.
A call and rescue yourself. No, take a call.
No,
please.
I'll get that in a second.
God, please.
I'll get the call.
Please.
I didn't know 2 days ago that Big 12 teams were scared of the optics of Houston.
Me, please.
No. God, I'll get it in a second. If they're scared of Houston, that's a good sign.
All right,
Houston should join
you said
the
it 7 times.
I'm just backing it up.
Yeah. Well, you've said it. You've said the same thing 7 times.
That happens all the time in the show. 464-5685 caller or text as always. We have a caller.
Yeah, God help us.
Who do we have here? You're on an early break. Big Sky's not here, so go ahead.
Hey, this is Tim.
Hey,
okay,
Tim, go ahead.
I got a question for you guys, but I'm going to make a point real quick because Tip's exactly right. Like, who was Houston before all this talk? It's the same thing with
Jake's got him at Alabama.
It's the same thing with Kansas and Iowa State supposedly wanting to join the Big Ten. Like, the thing I would ask to those two schools is, seriously, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, were you guys honestly considering this? This is the whole thing. I want everybody to slow down, and I'm glad it takes until 2025 for OU and Texas to leave because that's going to give the playoff committee a time to figure out how many teams they want to expand to. That's going to give these conferences a time to go ahead and reline before schools just start jumping ship and start joining conferences. And then before you know it, I heard Colin Cowherd wants USC to join the Big Ten. How ridiculous would it be to see USC fly all the way over to Rutgers to play a football game for 3.5 hours and then fly all the way back across the country? That's ridiculous. My question for you guys, though, is who holds the most leverage right now? Is it the conference directors or is it the president of the university? Because I want to know if, say, you have a school that's in the SEC that's like, you know what, I don't really like competing in the SEC right now. I'm going to go up and join the ACC, or I'm going to go and join the Big Ten. Is that a possibility? Can these conferences just go ahead and reline based off of where the schools want to go? Or do the conference presidents have the conference directors, do they have the right to say, whoa, no, you can't just up and leave us? I know it's all contractually tied together.
Kind of.
But I can foresee, and I don't know how they're going to do conference realignment. I'm guessing there's going to be, the talk is kind of 4 powerhouse conferences. But how stacked is the Pac-12 going to be? Because if you look from basically Colorado West, we don't have a whole lot of Division I good schools, guys. And then if you go from Colorado East down in the Southeast, they're stacked. I'm real curious how they're going to regionally align all of this to where it makes sense, and you don't have schools flying clear across the country or flying a lot longer than they need to do. I don't even think Rutgers really belongs in the Big Ten. If you think about it regionally, they're more of an ACC school, but that's just my take. I'm curious to hear what you guys think.
Thanks for the call. It would be a strange optic to see USC playing at Rutgers sometime. In a conference game. A non-conference game, sure, but if that's a potential conference game,
it's really strange.
That'd be very bizarre. Doesn't help a lot of people out there.
It's just like West Virginia played in the Pac-12. If the Big 12 were to morph into the Pac-12 and make it a 20-team super conference, I think you just got to keep an open mind and be ready for any of this. As far as Tim's question goes, I don't know, Tim. I'm not going to try to answer it. I'm just going to say this: I don't know. I guess I don't want to be negative all the time. But the maddening thing about college football is there's no real leadership. It's just like this big ship out at sea. And it's like, oh, we don't know where it's going. We don't really know. We don't even know who's guiding the ship.
Who's the captain?
Yeah, we don't know. I don't know who the captain is.
It's just manually operated. Right now, automatically
so
operated.
So the conference commissioners, Greg Sankey, probably is the most, Greg Sankey of the SEC is the most powerful conference commissioner. But so, Tim, the other part of this is it's a bunch of presidents and chancellors that we have no idea who they are, right? You don't know who the president of Oklahoma is.
No, I do not.
I don't know who the president of Ole Miss is, but those are people that are making these decisions, along with the conference commissioners. The ADs don't have a lot of power in this. It's the conference commissioners, and put Greg Sankey at the top of that list of the SEC. And then you have 3 new ones, Tim. I mean, you have 3 new conference commissioners. Kevin Warren's new. Jim Phillips is new in the ACC. And George, I'm not going to try his last name. George starts with a K, last name of the Pac-12.
I gotta find that guy's name again.
Yeah, I'm going to say Cleo Klivic.
I'm pretty sure that's not what it is, but I'm going to figure it out right now.
All right. So you have 3 new conference commissioners, which is an interesting dynamic here. I guess what you're talking about is Greg Sankey has an enormous amount of power in the SEC right now.
Go ahead and try his name again.
Kliavkoff.
That I think that's it. I think that's right. I think it's Kliavkoff. Yeah.
Kliavkoff.
Kliavkoff.
All right.
Kliavkoff.
So who's making the decisions? That's what Tim's kind of getting at. Well, and the networks are big in this too. But that's, I don't know, Jake. I want to say it's an unappealing part of college football, the way it's structured, but I don't want to be negative because college football used to be pretty cool, but now I mean, there's a lot of people that are really kind of, they're going to give this a chance, but there's a lot of skepticism.
Well, you have to give it a chance because you have no other choice. You can't just say I'm not watching. That'd be dumb. It's football. We don't get to see football very often.
I wonder at what point will we keep calling it college football? I mean, at what point will we stop calling it?
Do you have a rebranded name for it?
No.
Built in yet? G League football?
Something
like that.
It's not going to be college football as we know it. Not very much longer. And Tim, I don't think it's going to be 2025 before Texas and Oklahoma are playing. I think it's going to be sooner.
Yeah,
much sooner
Brett
than that.
McMurphy put out there. He says they're going to push freaking hard to get to 2022 next year.
Right.
Which that's hard. I mean, that's if that happens, that'd be a lot of movement, a lot of things moving very, very, very quickly.
You don't know where it's going to go at all. I mean,
But here's the thing: if you know it's going to happen, we don't want to wait 4 years. Just do it now.
I agree.
Just
It's
do it-
not happening.
Just do it
Yeah,
soon.
no, it's not. They're not going
Right.
to wait. They're not going
Like
to
no
wait.
one wants. It's going to be awkward.
Big 12's not going to.
It'd be awkward to play 4 more
Right.
seasons in the conference. Say, oh, bye. See
Right.
you. Thanks
No.
for having us.
It's not.
They
gonna happen.
want out as soon as they can. They're going
Yes.
to play this year, obviously. They're not going to back out of this year. But if they can get in that conference by 2022,
Yeah.
that's best for all parties involved except for the Big 12.
Absolutely.
The Big 12 is the only person that loses there.
Yeah. So
America wins, Texas, Oklahoma wins, the SEC wins. The Big 12 is the only loser in that.
it's amazing what's going on right now. Back to A&M. A&M liked the idea of being the only SEC school in the state of Texas, and Texas fans did not like losing recruits who wanted to play in the SEC to Texas A&M. Can you understand why Texas A&M loved being in that position from a recruiting standpoint? If you were a Texas high school player who wanted to play in the SEC, there it is.
That's your school.
There you go.
That's the one.
Yeah, Texas. And I think Texas had a big problem with that. I think that's part of what's driving this. From Oklahoma's standpoint, I don't know, unless Texas just said we need a partner and Oklahoma's the clear and obvious choice. I mean, who else you going to? Can I go to Baylor? Can't go to Texas Tech?
No.
No, I mean, that's the obvious choice. That what's amazing in this conversation, Jake, is maybe you would say, oh, I've thought about this before. I've never even really thought about the Big 12 in these terms. Without Texas and Oklahoma, it's nothing. I never really thought of it that way, but it's the truth. Now that they're removed, you're like, oh God.
Look at the team is left. You're like, ugh.
Exactly.
Oof.
I never thought of it that
There's
way.
not much
though.
cachet there.
Yeah, I never really pondered in that way that they were that they carried so much water in that conference. So much clout was just in those two schools.
Well, I think it was pretty. I don't know if it was obvious, but now that they're gone, it's even more obvious. Like,
Yeah.
If you look
it
at
was
that,
obvious.
if you
but-
look at that conference, like, whoa, that is pretty top heavy with those schools in terms of the power
but I guess I didn't
and
think
the
of it.
interest.
I didn't think of it in these terms. I didn't think of it as, ooh, that makes them really vulnerable, right? It makes the conference really vulnerable. But it did. But it turns out it did.
We have another call. Don't know who it is. Who do we have? You're in an early break. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys. It's Derek.
Hey,
oh,
Derek.
hello,
uh,
Derek.
A 2010
Hi,
Ford Taurus heading north on 77. Hey, here's,
Oh, cool.
you know, the
cool.
Big 12, basically they have a couple of choices, right? They can die on the vine and let everybody come in over the next couple of years and gobble up the goods if there are any left. Or, like Jake said, I agree with this. Grab Houston and Rice.
Rice.
Go to the
Rice.
Yeah, what the heck? Go to
Rice.
look. Go to the Dakotas. Grab North Dakota. I get their FCS, but look, bring them up to FBS. Grab South Dakota. Grab Wyoming. Grab Colorado State. Make a super conference if you're the Big 12. That's your only hope. And yeah, granted, you're not going to have the branding. You're not going to have the names, but you're going to have 20 schools, and that's going to be out in front of everybody else because eventually everybody else is going to want to do that as well.
Okay.
Thanks for the call, Derek.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if Big 12 fans would want South Dakota State in their conference or North Dakota State, even though North Dakota State has beaten some Big 12 teams in recent years.
It's the normal suspect. It's the usual suspects that the Big 12 will look to. So there's 8 teams you're talking about now. The question is how many will they go try to grab? I mean,
Yeah.
are you just trying to get back to 10, or are you trying to get to 12, or are you trying to get to 14? What are you doing there? There's only 8. So you know the names that always come up.
It's going to be AAC teams.
Memphis,
Yep.
Houston,
Cincinnati.
UCF, USF, Cincinnati. Unless they try to go into the Pac-12 and raid that.
Well,
The non-coastal
I
schools.
think they would try. I think they would try to do half AAC schools and half, or at least a quarter of the Pac-12. If that's what they try, at least
I
they
don't
would
know.
try that.
Who
You
knows?
can't get Wyoming. You can't get that in the Big
I
12.
don't think so.
You could probably try to get Colorado back. Try.
imagine?
Could
you imagine being Bob Bowlesby, the Big 12 commissioner, and what he's faced with today and going forward? Or just one of those schools, Jake. Think about, we have to do this thing where we're a little more compassionate to these teams like Iowa State. I'll just pick Iowa State, because if I pick Kansas State, people are like, why would we be compassionate towards those guys? Or Missouri. I'll pick Iowa State, which is kind of a friendly, right? Nebraska and Iowa State never really got at odds over anything that I know of. So how do you, what if you're Iowa State right now? Now they got a shot to be in the Big Ten conversation, but it's not a lock. They're very vulnerable. All those teams are extremely vulnerable.
Yep.
And I think that's what I like. Okay, now this is again why these conversations are sort of, I just did what I don't like about this whole thing. I made an assumption. What if we had Bob? Jake, do you ever think about it like this? Like I always do this, what if we had Bob Bowlesby sitting
What's going
there?
on, Bob?
Yeah, what if we had Bowlesby sitting there? What do you think he'd be like right now? Maybe he would project a lot of confidence.
I think he'd have to project confidence, because otherwise,
but maybe it'd be real confidence. Maybe he has a plan.
well, maybe he's trying to go after the AAC. Several if you were Bob Bowlesby and you were smart and you're trying to make this, trying to bandage this as well as you can, cover up the band-aid of Oklahoma and Texas leaving. You try to get UCF, Memphis, Houston, Boise State, probably you try to go after.
Yeah, we forgot.
You try to get Boise State.
BYU.
You try. That's 5 teams. That gets you 13. One more team in there. One USF. I already said Houston. That was part of my teams I said.
Okay, sorry.
Cincinnati's important too.
Okay, now then there's a whole other discussion. Yeah, real quick. The other part of this is maybe Bob Bowlesby would just be saying, you guys talking about this conference realignment is kind of silly because we're going to 2 big ones and that's it. So you guys can talk about it all you want, but it's kind of silly because we're going to 1 major conference or 2 25 teamers. So all this realignment talk is silly. You can keep talking about it because that's what you guys do.
Oh, well, we should get Bob Bowlesby in that chair over there. Let's check it out. Let's get him in here. Sean Callahan up next, an early break on the ticket. Last thing before break, guys, my friends at Craft Axe Throwing are having a lot of things going on this summertime you can be involved in. They have a multi-blade Monday. That's Ninja Stars and throwing knives. That's right, Ninja Stars and throwing knives on Mondays. They have leagues from June to September at 6:30 on Tuesdays. You can sign up for that in person or call by the end of May to get into individual leagues. Also, college night on Wednesday, only $15 instead of $20 if you show your ID. They are taking reservations for Fridays and Saturdays, and they do have tournaments upcoming as well. For more information, check out the website, craftaxethrowing.com, or to sign up for a league, you can call them at 402-802-9696. That's all at Craft Axe Throwing in Lincoln at 18th and N.
Hi, I'm Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska in the NFL, I wore lots of protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but that of my family, friends, and our community, because I got my COVID vaccine. And now, everyone 12 years and older can be vaccinated. It's free, it's safe, and it protects all of us. Suit up against COVID. Find out more at healthylincoln.org.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Brokers Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Brokers Insurance Agency name. Brokers Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Brokers Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Where can you get a straightforward loan for a new set of wheels? Liberty First. Liberty First Credit Union looks at things differently. No hidden charges or early prepayment penalties and rates as low as 1.98% APR. Talk to a lender who's here for people, not for profits. People like you. Liberty First Credit Union. Thinking with purpose. Rates may vary depending on year and miles. Subject to credit approval. Not available for current LFCU loans. See Liberty First Credit Union for details.
Hey, it's Mike Shaver. Join me and Connor Happer on Friday from 2 to 6 at the Pawnee Plunge in Columbus. It's a 4-hour opening splash, a great way to end the summer, and we'll have some surprise guests joining us too. That's this Friday for the recruiting hour and the drive at the Pawnee Plunge Water Park in Columbus.
We're on the air.
Back
Well, party's starting early today, isn't it?
to more of Early Break with Sip and Jake, brought to you by Gaina Trucking. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Fall camp is just about here. The gang is all back together, and we are joined now by Husker Online Sean Callahan. Sean, good morning. Can you believe we're finally here with fall camp just a couple days away, Sean? Did you think we'd get there this year without a ton of complications? Are we going to have complications with everything coming up in the country recently?
Yeah, the COVID stuff's going to get interesting again. I mean, just kind of what the policies are going to be. I mean, the way I understand it, at least today, is teams are going to be able to kind of operate on their own local guidelines. But, you know, when you go on the road, you might have to operate on guidelines wherever you're traveling. So that could be Michigan State or Wisconsin or Minnesota. There could be different COVID testing or things teams might have to do. But yeah, it's day to day, week to week, as we know with COVID, and things can change at any given time. But we'll kind of see where the Big Ten goes with this year when they hire the chief medical expert and kind of where they go with that.
Just in our own local world, Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com, a big media contingent is scheduled to go over to Memorial Stadium and talk to 8 to 10 players tomorrow. Are we doing that? What do you think of that?
As far as like in-person media?
Yeah, in-person media. Yeah, would Nebraska consider would they pause on that maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd be surprised. I mean, but yeah, it's getting interesting. That's for sure.
That's what I mean, Sean. That's what I mean.
I haven't heard any, but yeah, I think the fan day is probably, if there was going to be one thing they'd tamp down, it'd be that, because of the interaction of so many people with players, and of that age group. I mean, how many of them are vaccinated when you talk about kids at fan days?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to think about there that I'm glad I'm not the person that has to make those types of calls and decisions.
Tamp down. I mean, Sean, I don't know if you tamp down fan day. I don't know how you tamp it down. I think you might just pull the plug. Jeez, this is a pleasant conversation. Can we talk about Dairy Queen or something?
No.
I had a hell of a dilly bar last night.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, cherry.
Sean Callahan joins us. Sean, the big news that came out of media days was not even Big Ten related. It was Big 12 related, with Texas and Oklahoma heading towards the SEC. At least they've applied to join the conference. I'm curious, what is the Big 12 done? Do they get more teams? What is your thoughts on where the Big 12 goes with this news?
Yeah, it's really hard to say where they go. I mean, I think they're hoping that they can stay together now with their 8 and decide what the next move is going to be and survive, whatever people might go after their teams. I don't know. I can't see the Big Ten just taking Iowa State and Kansas. To me, it would be almost like a losing move. You'd be like, all right, the SEC gets Texas and Oklahoma, and we're going to get Iowa State and Kansas. I mean, I think everybody like, well, we know who won that. So, if the Big Ten does something, I think it's going to be something that, to me, moves the needle a little bit more. And, the theory now is maybe something with the Pac-12, with the California teams like USC, UCLA, Stanford, and Cal, or something with the ACC. But the ACC, they have a grant of rights that runs through 2036.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
with
lot
Notre
of
Dame,
red tape around that compared to the Big 12, which runs through 2025.
I think the ACC grant of rights that runs through 2036 is just with Notre Dame. I think that's the Notre Dame component. I could be wrong.
Are you
Again,
sure about that?
I'm
I've read
not
it
positive.
many times on that I've talked to a Florida State guy and other people. I was almost positive it was 2036.
Okay. Well, as far as the Big Ten goes, for the time being, can't the Big Ten just stand pat at 14?
I mean, I think that's what they're going to do unless like there's something that they know is a win.
Right.
I don't think they're just going to be in the business of adding members because if they're saying super conferences at 16, well, spots 15 and 16 need to be quality spots. You can't just take 2 teams to get to 16. And as we know, you've got to meet a certain academic level of respect. They're not just going to let anybody in the conference because they have a good football program anymore. I mean, Nebraska was able to get through. I mean, that played a big factor, as we know, back in 2010. But I think they're going to be pretty selective if they go with 2 more spots.
What if I said to you, Sean, I'm only mildly interested in this whole conference realignment talk because we all know what the result's going to be, and it's not going to be 4 conferences. It's going to be one big group of teams or maybe 2 big group of teams, like 25 and 25. I think this is just an interim conversation leading to the inevitable, which is one big batch of teams. What would you say to that?
I think the challenge is going to be to get all the leadership and politics to align, not just at the university president level, but the state level. I mean, this is going to affect so many things that politicians are going to be involved in this. And I mean, you're seeing what it's done to Oklahoma State and Kansas State and these places. I mean, Oklahoma just pushed Oklahoma State out of the way to go to the SEC, and their chancellor went on Twitter and went public about how upset she was. I mean, this is just the start of it, and you know, you're affecting institutions that have been around since the 1800s,
right? All
because of football money. I mean, it's a really big deal, and
it is.
I don't think it's going to be that easy to get everybody on board and align all the politics. Just to get to the scenario you suggested.
Okay.
Sean, Scott Frost, Trev Alberts were out in Indy over the past weekend for media days. I'm curious, what did they say that stood out to you, and what was your overall impression with their appearance in Indianapolis?
Well, I thought Trev did a really good job, just with a message. And you know, I wrote something this week. You know, he comes out and says, you know, we need to stop worrying about the past and talking about the past. And only a guy like Trev Alberts could say something like that. Why? Because he played here. He's an Osborne guy. He was a highly decorated player.
Yeah.
You know, Sean Eichhorst couldn't come in as an AD and say that. And I mean, people, you know, can you imagine the former player contingent, how upset they would be if a guy like Eichhorst said that? So I think Trev in his role with what he's accomplished at Nebraska, he can say things and make statements that maybe not every AD that we've had in the past here could say. So I was impressed with just the way he presented his message and how he went about it. And, you know, for Scott Frost, I thought he was pretty tamped down. I don't think he tried to go out of his way to make the front pages and say statements. He was very relaxed. And you can tell he likes his team, and you can tell he knows the challenge that he has ahead.
As far as Trev goes, Sean, Trev Alberts, what did you make of his comments when asked about the sellout streak? He was asked specifically, what does the sellout streak mean to you? How important is it to you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close, and he knows it. I mean, and them just bringing the paper tickets back. I mean, that I'm sure that made some fans happy, and they listened to that because there's some older fans that don't know how to operate a digital ticket in a smartphone, and that might deter a few hundred fans from wanting to buy tickets because they don't want to mess with having to get their phone out. So, you know, they went out. That was something that I know previously they said we're not going back to paper tickets. Well, they're doing it now. So you can tell he understands some of the things that matter. But yeah, the sellout streak's important in the sense that it's the only thing left that links all the generations of success of Nebraska from Devaney to the current present day. That's the only thing left out there.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean. That's a good way to put it.
Sean, as fall camp gets going this week, I'm curious what is your biggest storyline that you are curious about the first couple weeks of fall camp?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a broad question. It's hard hard to go one direction with it. I mean, just how this team looks and the approach they had over the summer. I mean, it's been such a quiet summer. There haven't been a lot of stories that have come out of summer conditioning and whatnot. And but I just want to kind of get a gauge of eyeball test of these guys on Thursday. And I'm probably going to peek down at Fan Day, assuming we have all these things Thursday, and just look at these guys and get a feel for kind of where this team's at. But from a positional standpoint, running back still really intrigues me. Omar Manning, intrigues me. What kind of August he's going to have. Heinrich Harburg intrigues me. Will he take a step forward from where he was at the end of the spring ball? Tyreek Johnson, what's he look like coming in as a new guy from Ohio State? I mean, there's definitely some things like that. I think all of us will be watching closely.
Sean, always good stuff. Thanks for the time. We will chat with you again next week.
Okay, Jake. Thanks.
Good stuff. Husker Online. Sean Callahan there. A lot of people are upset didn't have the birds chirping today in the background.
Yeah. As far as what we're looking for, his answer was I don't know if there's an obvious answer.
Well, he's right, though. It has been a very quiet offseason. We have heard not much at all from that program, right?
Players-wise, yeah. Or anything, yeah.
I'm saying it's been a quiet. It's been very quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about running back. Is Marquise Stepp a part of the equation right away? Or is he still battling a foot? We haven't heard about him at all regarding, is he going to be ready for the start of fall camp?
That's probably it. Well, yeah, Scott addressed that. He won't be 100%. Okay. Scott addressed that last week in Indy. He won't be 100% to start, but he'll practice, but not at 100%. Yeah, I mean, I guess running back is the position that's most interesting. I would say receiver right behind it. I would say more because of Toure, because of what Frost said about Samori Toure in Indy, where Scott said he'll be an immediate impact player, and then went on to praise him even more. I mean, Toure is going to be a huge part of this equation. Downfield threat. The only thing that Toure won't do that you've seen Nebraska slots do in the past, he won't go into the backfield and run the ball.
I'm okay with that.
Are you?
I'm okay. I am okay with that.
Yeah, Scott says they got other guys to do that.
I don't always need my receivers to get carries or just always do jet sweep stuff.
Yeah, I might do jet sweep stuff.
Okay, a couple times. I don't want that to be like the norm. Like, I don't need a Wan'Dale Robinson going from receiver to running back getting 15 carries in the game. I know they had depth issues and all that injury issues.
You won't see that.
I'm fine. I really don't want to see that ever again.
It's what if you have like Reggie Bush and you can.
Well, how many Reggie Bushes are out there? How many times has that happened?
I'm just saying, never say never.
Reggie Bush is a one of a kind guy. There's not many Reggie Bushes that exist.
That's not a great example. I'm thinking of like Johnny Rogers.
Okay, that was 50 years ago.
I'm just saying. I'd never say never on that.
Okay, once in a blue moon, I'll be okay with a running back, also receiver playing running back.
Yeah.
The mailbag and song of the day is up next on Early Break in the Ticket.
You'll never complain about an expensive lunch at the Fox Bar and Grill. They've just introduced tons of options on their new under $10 lunch menu. Small nachos grande, a classic cheeseburger, 4 boneless or traditional wings and fries, or a small single topping pizza for just $5 each. Try the mushroom Swiss burger or the pepper jack stack burger for just $6. And for just $7, try any of the classic steak Philly, club wrap, grilled chicken salad, or grilled southwestern salad. It's the under $10 lunch menu at the Fox Bar and Grill, just south of 14th and Pine Lake.
Get in, get out, and get your hands on a great career. Did you know Southeast Community College offers short-term training in almost 20 programs of study? That means you can get your certificate at SCC and get right to work without spending years in school. You can train at one of our 3 campus locations in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, or our 6 learning centers across Southeast Nebraska. If you want to find your next step, visit southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
Hey guys, it's Nick and Big Sky.
What's up?
Join us every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. for our new show, The Student Section,
where we will break down the biggest sports news of the week from a college student's perspective and bring on a local student athlete who's made our honor roll with exceptional performance in and out of the game.
The Student Section every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Mike Shaver. Join me and Connor Happer on Friday from 2 to 6 at the Pawnee Plunge in Columbus. It's a 4-hour opening splash, a great way to end the summer, and we'll have some surprise guests joining us too. That's this Friday for the recruiting hour and the drive at the Pawnee Plunge Water Park in Columbus.
Harvest will be here before we know it. Landmark Implement invites you to join us at your local Combine Clinic this August. Our certified technicians and customer technology experts will teach you how to optimize the performance of your John Deere Combine and minimize the stress this fall. When you attend one of Landmark's Combine Clinics, you'll learn about John Deere cab controls and calibrations, AMS harvest dock row sense, maintenance and wear items, and more. Visit landmarkimp.com for a complete Combine Clinic schedule or visit your local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and now I'm protecting it with a COVID vaccine. Everyone 12 years and older can too. Get vaccinated and stay strong. Learn more at healthylincoln.org.
At Gaina Trucking, you can make a better income, a better career, and a better life. Gaina Trucking and Excavating is now hiring Class A and B CDL drivers. Careers include amazing benefits with a 401k, healthcare, paid vacations, annual raises, and so much more. 40-hour work weeks guaranteed year-round. To be a part of this amazing career opportunity, apply online at GainaTrucking.com. Don't miss our team culture, benefits, and a career that will give you a better life. Be better at Gaina Trucking and Excavating.
You love to bash his sports takes.
Now, will you feel like an idiot if you're
No,
a big tough?
never feel like an
If
idiot.
you're a big tough guy this morning,
But you really love to voice your displeasure for his music choices.
he stumbled on an issue that I did not think would generate this much passion and discussion.
It's time for Jake's questionable song of the day on Early Break on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're always the same. We're almost undone now. I was caught in the rain, wasting my time on the ground, waiting the call of what would you say, and can you come over? I was caught in the rain, wasting my time on the ground. It was you who could get me high with whatever you say. You tell me something real. What we do, it doesn't matter now. Whatever it takes for you to stay with me.
Song of the day, Caught in the Rain by Revis, 464-56851 1 is bad, 10 is good. Texture rating on the Sauter Heyman Jewelers Song of the Day.
Wasting my time on the ground, feeling is fall without an escape. I almost let you down. I was caught in the rain, wasting my time on the ground. It was you who could get me high with whatever you say. You tell me something real. What we do, it doesn't matter now. Whatever it takes for you to stay with me.
Again, your Song of the Day, Caught in the Rain by Revis, 464-5685 1 is bad, 10 is good. Texture rating on the Sauter Heyman Jewelers Song of the Day.
Revis,
R-E-V-I-S, like Darrell Revis.
like rhymes with Beavis.
What else does it rhyme with?
This has been a very contentious show so far, sort of unpleasant. So I'm going to be very pleasant. I'm going to give that a pleasant 3. It was a
3. What?
A 3.0.
I think you're in a bad mood.
I just said it's
I have played songs like that before that you've given like an 8.
I've just
It's like
said
the
it's-
Breaking Benjamin type of band. You always give those songs higher grades.
So you played me a poor man's Breaking Benjamin.
It's not that, no. But that was,
3. I'm not in a bad
I
mood.
think you need some more caffeine.
I'm
going to get you some bagels and Joe Coffee
Okay,
back there.
that'll be good.
And you're going
I'll
to
be
be in a better
interested.
mood.
I'm in a fine. Can't I give a?
It's okay to admit you're in a bad mood.
I'm not in a bad mood. I gave it
A 3 is a bad grade.
Was I pleasant about it though? The show's been contentious enough. I didn't like the song. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Nobody wants me to be disingenuous.
That's fine.
Okay, 3. What are
All
what are
right.
you hearing from?
2.5, a 6, 5, 3.
Is there some names?
Believer says a 3. Rod says a 5.
Okay.
Never heard that song before.
Yeah,
5.
there's a reason.
Alexander the Great says 7 today. Greg and Milford, a 5.6. Brian says, nice pick. I'll give it an 8.
Okay.
Leroy, a 6. Eric gets a 9.2. Yes, that
Whoa,
Eric. That Eric.
He's the drummer.
He says, damn you, Jake, with the deep cut today. Bring me back to high school. Revis gets a 9.2 for me, but you, of course, get a 2.
9.2 from Eric.
Fantastic song. Few knew about. A 9 out of 10 from P. Dale.
Nice. Well, that's good. I appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate there's going to be a disparity.
Tedster says 8.5. Unexpected and harder than Jake usually goes on this song of the day. A 0 from Grandpa Rick. That's going to happen from Grandpa once in a while. You got a guess from John in Des Moines?
I didn't like it.
See, John in Des Moines likes like hard rock. That's pretty rocky there. He's been to Tool here at PBA, and he came and showed us. Came by the station after that concert. So I would think he'd like that. It's not the similar sound, but it's close.
He gave it a 3.
2.
Gave it a 2.
Yeah, gave it a 2. Wet Blanket says, I would rather be caught in the rain than listen to that song again. 1.5. Yeah, 6.5. Dave gives it a 1. And a lot of ratings today. They're all I'd say middle of the pack. About a 5 is the average. 4.5. 5.
So I wasn't too
you're
far
below
off.
average though.
Well, I wasn't too far off.
You're below the
I
average.
wasn't snarky about
8.5 from Rob in Syracuse. I don't know if that's Nebraska or New York, but if it's either one of them, thank you for texting, Rob. Are you ready for the mailbag?
I am.
Let's do it. All right, we got a couple really good ones today. This is from Joel. Joel says, "Dear Jake and Sipper," came in reference there. If you were to be in a bar fight and you had 2 to 3 Huskers to protect you, which Huskers would you have chosen from the past and the current?
Jason Peter, Clinton Childs. I'm taking Jason Peter, Clinton Childs. Jason Peter, Clinton Childs, and the younger Kelsey, Chris Kelsey.
Okay.
Yeah. Kelsey, I was always halfway scared to interview. I might take stop. What am I doing? Come on. Jason Peter, Clinton Childs, and Tanu Finodi.
Well, can I take a similar person or not? Can I take the same? I'm taking Jason Peter for sure.
Yeah.
I'm taking Ndamukong Suh.
Good call.
I mean,
yeah, that's good.
And I'm taking Grant Wistrov.
That's good. Those are good calls.
I was taking all 3. I want guys on that defensive line that can, are ready to fight here.
Yeah. I mean, Finodi's
there's a lot of great.
as big as that
I know.
computer.
Hey, Finodi was a great option. Yeah. And Richie Incognito would be a great option.
Oh, God,
as well.
what are we talking about?
Richie's got to be up there.
Yeah, Richie's up there, too.
Yeah. So
So there's no shortage of people that you could turn to in that situation.
Okay, this is from Brandon. Brandon says, hey, guys, first of all, great show. Second, a question. Given what Sip has mentioned a few times, the circumstances of Moose's quote about his retirement, is it possible that Green and others had caught on to the winds of change in late June, which led them to making a change in AD now with the idea that Nebraska would need an AD for the future in place, given all the changes coming,
Yes.
not only NIL, but conference realignment?
That
as well?
definitely could have been a factor. And then I don't mind saying this because Bill has talked about it. Bill Moose did not have a great relationship with the Big Ten, specifically Kevin Warren, the commissioner. So was that a factor in the change? It definitely could have been. Again, I don't think that's the kind of thing we'll ever know, but that is certainly crossed my mind since Thursday when the Oklahoma Texas stuff cropped up. Jake, Bill got, he made his concerns or made his issues very clear with Kevin Warren. And I think the relationship wasn't great.
He has a follow-up saying, second question, related but different. Do you think Jamie Pollard is kicking himself for not jumping to Nebraska when he had the chance, given the impending death of the Big 12?
Well, you wonder. And I wonder about the Baylor AD, too. The Baylor AD was definitely someone Nebraska looked at, and I would say, I'm just going to say talk to. From a good source close to that AD. I wonder what the Baylor AD is thinking right now. And yeah, I do wonder what Jamie Pollard's thinking right now about that.
Another question before we get to break. This is he was unnamed emailer here. Mailbag question. Sip, what is the single biggest story you've ever broken?
Oh, it was probably when the NCAA came down hard on the Nebraska wrestling program and forced the resignation of Tim Newman for it was illegal benefits basically, and that was late 90s, I believe. I mean, you could say all the coach fire, Frank's firing. There's been a lot of big ones. But one that we broke and we owned was let's face it, Jake, how often has the NCAA came into Nebraska and forced that sort of change,
Not often.
No. So no, that was a big one early in my career.
All right. Thank you for all the questions. We're out of time. We had a couple more, but out of time this week. Thank you. We had got 2-3 of them this week, though.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, we had about 6 or 7 I wanted to get to, but that's all right. Next time.
Well, maybe you can revisit them later in the show.
I sure can. It's a free world. I can do what I want.
Yeah,
I can do what I want.
Sort of a free world. Oh, come on. Relax. It's okay.
Okay. Top of the hour. We're gonna talk about NIL again because that's what we want to do.
I got a question for you about NIL. I got a question for you.
You can ask me after the break?
Yes.
Okay. That's up next on Early Break in the Ticket.
Bagels and Joe is ready for the summer with peaches and cream cheese. Great on any bagel. Don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches, and grab a business box of bagels for the work crew. Bagels and Joe with 4 Lincoln locations.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Harvest will be here before we know it. Landmark Implement invites you to join us at your local Combine Clinic this August. Our certified technicians and customer technology experts will teach you how to optimize the performance of your John Deere Combine and minimize the stress this fall. When you attend one of Landmark's Combine clinics, you'll learn about John Deere cab controls and calibrations, AMS harvest dock row sense, maintenance and wear items, and more. Visit landmarkimp.com for a complete Combine clinic schedule or visit your local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonsall Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit BonsallPool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonsall Pool and Spa.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Broker's Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Broker's Insurance Agency name. Broker's Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Broker's Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
Hello, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
I sure am, Charlie. Great to talk to you again.
Andy, I know you're selling a lot of cars right now, but I hear you still have a lot of cars available.
We do, Charlie. In fact, we still have over 500 new 2021 Hondas to choose from in stock or on the way. with 0% APR financing available on select models.
What about new 2022 Hondas, Andy?
You know, we actually have quite a few in stock already, and they're arriving every day.
Now, I'm going to assume since you're selling a lot of new cars, you have some great trade-ins available too. How is the selection of pre-owned?
It's the largest selection of pre-owned we've ever had, Charlie, with over 160 to choose from. People can choose from just about any make and model you can imagine.
Thanks, Andy. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
If you're feeling past your prime with low libido, fatigue, or weight gain, you might be experiencing low T. At Vitalize Health, they can help treat low T and get you back on track. Ramey and Jackie have focused their careers on whole body wellness and can help with everything from testosterone replacement to Botox to help the outside match the inside and regain your youthful appearance. Vitalize Health does accept insurance. Call them today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Seasonal maintenance on your car makes it perform better and last longer. Same goes for furnaces, heat pumps, and air conditioners. Hi, folks. Greg Sharp here, the voice of the Huskers. No matter what brand you own, call Bryant and sign up for their Energy Savings Plan, or ESP. You get Bryant's complete system checkup twice each year. You also save 10% on labor, 10% on parts, and never pay overtime on service calls. Call 467-1111. Sign up for ESP today. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Wake up, Lincoln.
Come on, it's 6 o'clock. Rise and shine, rise and shine.
It's time for Early Break with Sip and Jake, brought to you by Gaina Trucking. Live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Here's 93.7 The Ticket's Jake Sorensen.
Did seem kind of meh.
And the Lincoln Journal-Star's Steve Sipple.
Surprisingly good.
This is Early Break with Sip and Jake, sponsored by Gaina Trucking.
Welcome back to Hour 2 on a Wednesday. Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, Early Break. Show is sponsored by Gaina Trucking. Check the current job openings at GainaTrucking.com. You can watch the show on the Sauter Heyman Jewelers video stream on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and call or text the show, as always, at 402-464-5685. You believe it's been a contentious show so far? They can't all be perfect, right? They can't all be tame, right?
Yeah, you should remind me that when you ask me a question, I shouldn't just nod my head.
Well, for the viewers, they can see that on the stream, but for those who are listening on the radio, can't see or nod.
Right.
They can assume what it looks like.
Yeah, the Houston thing got out of control. And I thought that you know me in transparency. I'm all about it. I mean it when I say this. Any listener, you could ask me about any phase of my life and I would be happy to talk about it. At this point, I'll talk about anything. Anything. And I mean anything.
Anything.
Yeah, I would. You could. There's nothing. I got nothing to hide. Now you, Jake.
What?
So what I'm getting at here is, now you can critique me. Was I wrong to ask Sean about the possibility of Fan Day not happening because of what's happening with the Delta variant?
I don't think it was wrong. It's just a little depressing, maybe.
Did the listeners did the text line take me to task?
No, not at all. It's not a wrong question. It's just an unfortunate thing that's potentially coming up here.
you think?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
We're trying to, we lived this whole summer believing that everything was past us and that we were in the clear and that, life is back as we knew it. Sports were back as we knew it. And they have been so far. Besides the Olympics, you've had fans in the stands for baseball. NBA had fans in the stands. You saw the 65,000 people at the Deer District in Milwaukee for the finals. Like, people were living their lives like they were back to normal. And now, there's an uptick in the Delta variant of COVID, and we're back in the yellow here in Lincoln in terms of, the serious nature of it.
And Twitter is alive.
And Twitter is still pressing it pretty hard here. So We are exactly today. We are a month away from Nebraska's first game. It is July 28th. They play August 28th. We are 1 month away today from the first game.
They play in what state?
They're going to play in Illinois. My parents are going to the game. You're going to the game. I'm curious. Is it going to be like it's supposed to be? Are they going to honor those tickets because of the COVID stuff? I don't know. You got people have trips planned around this, and are they going to get it ripped under them twice now? Yeah, that's kind of it. It's all about taking a deep breath and trying to stay positive.
Let's talk about something
upbeat.
More.
I didn't mean to depress you all to begin this.
Yeah, are you sure we should talk about NIL right now?
Yeah.
Or is that okay? Now I got a question for you. Let's just get out of this Delta variant discussion. I have a question for you that I thought about. Okay, now you on the rundown. This is the rundown. Oh, I took a big chunk.
Yeah, what happened there?
Don't
that
ask.
began the show with the chunk in it.
Just don't ask.
Did you eat it?
No, I didn't eat it. You asked this question on the rundown. It's a good one. What comes first in Nebraska? Winning with the current players or sponsorships to get better players? That's a great question that we'll get into. Before we get into it, I want to ask you why you seem like you don't like to talk about NIL. When I bring it up, I could tell like on the phone yesterday, you just don't, you're not big on discussing it.
Well,
why is that?
You have said this several times on this show, even today, and in the past couple shows, I agree with you. It just feels like, again, that furthers away from the college football that I've always known. And I know it's part of it. I know you have to accept it. It's not going away. But I don't like talking about it because it reminds me that we're in an age of college sports that we've never, it doesn't feel like college anymore.
Cue the people that will say it's always been happening. Players have always been getting paid, the good ones. So now it's just above board. Jake?
Well, now you've just given into that all being acceptable everywhere. And if that's the way, again, it's not going anywhere. This is where it's going to be. This is where we're going with college sports.
Okay, so that
but you just said a little bit ago, and I'm with you. This doesn't feel like college sports anymore.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know how much
football.
longer we're going to call it college football.
That's why I don't.
I wonder if
enjoy
in
the
10
NIL
years,
conversation.
I'm talking about 10 years. I wonder if in 10 years we're going to be calling it college football. I don't know if we will. Here's why that question dovetails perfectly into this topic that you raise. Again, what comes first in Nebraska? Winning with current players, sponsorships to get better players. I think Nebraska's God. Now, again, this all sounds a little radical depending on your point of view. My point of view is direct contact with the people that are associated with putting together Nebraska's roster. And I would say there is a hope in the program that Nebraska, I'm just going to say businesses are proactive and not reactive in this conversation. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Based on your question, what comes first in Nebraska, winning with current players or sponsorships to get better players? I think that if you now Scott's not going to entertain this question. I don't think. Tomorrow he's going to talk briefly to the media. I would like, if we had Scott in that chair, I would like to ask him something along the lines of, how important is it to you as Nebraska's coach, as the overseer of the roster, to have businesses stepping up now? Businesses across the state, not even just in the state. I mean, there's Nebraska fans all over the country that can help recruit and retain players. That you can now, a business owner, I guess, I don't have to say wealthy, just a business owner. Okay, let's face it, Jake. Let me frame it up this way. If you're a business owner right now and you are complaining loudly or you have serious concerns about Nebraska football, the conversation has changed a little bit because you can help it now.
Sure, you can.
A business can help it. If you own a large scale business and you have advertising revenue to spend, and you are wondering what the problem is and voicing concerns about it, well, you got to be careful because the conversation can shift on you. Well, you can help. You can help us in recruiting for sure. You can help us retain players. You can help us go get players off other rosters. And I would say if you're a Nebraska fan, you hope that the business community is proactive and doesn't wait. And I'm going to tell you something. I was just going to ask a question. Am I off base? I know I'm not off base because I know these are the conversations they're having.
It's such a strange time because you have a fan base that is, I mean, they want to win now, but they haven't seen results for several years now. You've made a bowl game since 2016. So what you're saying is right. If you're complaining about it out there as a business owner, you can help change that now by saying, let's be proactive and do something to get better players here.
How much of it?
But there's also the concern about, okay, well, is that going to change things? If we are proactive, doesn't always mean it's going to work out the right way for us. So we're just going to take a hit here and not have anything change at Nebraska.
Are you suggesting this is partly belief in the staff?
Yes.
Yes.
So you're in this weird middle ground where maybe you want to be proactive, but you have a hesitation because you're not sure about what the future of the program is with the current staff, or if they let go, where it goes after that. So that's why you're in a tough spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to be truly proactive if you're a business owner in the state and you want to be ahead of these things and help get better talent here. Right?
This is not, and for people for people that are confused, they're going to, okay, now Jake, we have to slow down.
Okay.
There's some people that are saying, now wait a second, Open Doors, isn't Open Doors on the cutting edge? Aren't they taking care of all this? No, they're not. Here's what happened. They're taking care of a segment of it. When the name, image, and likeness era began earlier, essentially July 1, there were basically 5 or 6 tracks that you had to be ready to be running on immediately. And not all schools were ready. Open Doors is one track.
Okay.
There's 3 or 4 or 5 others that you needed to be running on. Some schools were some schools were more equipped than others. You could look around and find some schools that are clearly ahead of others already in this. I'd say Nebraska's just so. Okay. Yeah, Open Doors is good, but Open Doors doesn't go out and get a big business owner on in Nebraska and link that up with a player or players. That's not what Open Doors does. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting conversation. Austin Allen, who I referenced this yesterday or the day before, and I listened to it again last night as I was working on a column about Austin. Austin Allen is one of Nebraska's most talented players.
Okay.
He's a junior. He was the second leading receiver last year. He's regarded as a bona fide NFL tight end. Or has that potential.
He's got potential. I'm not going to go bona fide.
I'm going bona fide. You say potential. I'm going bona fide. Okay, whatever. He was asked in Indianapolis on Thursday, how has the NIL world affected you? He said, it hasn't. I've heard nothing. Okay, you've heard nothing. Well, he said he thinks that there's businesses that are kind of waiting to see how it all works.
That's what I think.
Right.
But they're also waiting because they want to see Nebraska.
Could be.
That's why I asked this question, is that if there's businesses in this state that are interested in going and helping with NIL, are they going to be proactive now when the team is not doing great, or are they going to wait until they start seeing results and then start doing this?
It's a good question.
And
not all will have the same
either
answer.
way, they're fine in my books. I'm not going to criticize
I'm not spending anybody's money.
Right. I'm not spending
anybody's money. That's not what we're doing.
I'm not telling you to be patient and wait till the results indicate you should spend, or to spend now. It's your money. It's your choice. You do what you want to do.
Okay.
But I understand it is a very strange middle ground for those businesses.
It is. It can be. But again, I just want to emphasize, neither Jake nor I are spending anybody's money here. I'm not suggesting that a business has to do this or should do it. That's not what we're doing. It's just an interesting conversation, especially if someone's complaining loudly because the conversation could get shifted on you pretty quick.
Right. Are you a
Do
business owner?
something
You can
about
change this.
Yeah. If you want a running back here, you can help. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to help us get a big time running back, put together an NIL package because that would help us. And if Gabe Ervin gets really good, if we have to fight, okay, Jake, if Gabe Ervin, for instance, gets really good, the freshman from Georgia,
absolutely.
Say he runs for 1,500 yards and Nebraska goes 5-7. What do you think's going to happen? There's other schools that are going to actively recruit Gabe Ervin off your roster because we've created a system in college football that you can do that now.
One-time transfer rule
openly.
with no
openly.
You don't have to sit out of you. You can play right away.
There are now schools hiring people to watch other people's rosters.
Right.
We've created that.
Yes, we have.
Okay. Everybody signed off on it.
Yep.
And if Gabe Ervin runs for 1,400 yards, Nebraska goes 5-7, big schools will be after him.
You want to
Now,
win, Gabe? You're going to have to start here.
Business owner in Nebraska, we can stave off Clemson if we put together an NIL package for this young man. That's what we're looking at.
Well, everything you just said, have people thought about that playing out? If Nebraska has a great performance from a guy, but the team's not very good, you're going to have to fight to keep him because you can now transfer one time without having to sit out.
And there are certain universities out there that are going to be very proactive in putting together NIL packages.
Right. Doesn't this all help the likes of the big schools already?
I think it could. It doesn't have to be the big schools. You could pick
the top schools right now.
You could pick a random school. What if UCF has a real wealthy set of alums that decide we're going to get behind UCF? It doesn't have to. It absolutely doesn't have to be a big school thing. What if Texas El Paso has a very wealthy businessman with a string of car dealerships? You don't think he could get involved and help UTEP? And all of a sudden, wait a second, why is this 5-star running back from Dallas going to UTEP? Well, because this auto dealer put together one hell of a package for him and his family. They're all driving new cars, and he's getting a lot of money. He's getting $300,000 from this. That can happen. It's happening.
That's when the money gets insane.
It's happening. Bryce Young's he's 7 figures right now. This is where we're at. I mean, this is that's what a lot of people wanted, and it is what it is. So I'm not complaining. But I'm just saying.
Well, it's easier for businesses to spend money when those teams are winning.
And here's what's going to happen.
It's easier to spend money with a player or team when that team is doing well.
Of course. And here's what's happening. There's going to be a lot of businesses that set themselves up as a go-between. That you have a business that helps a program or programs, it doesn't have to be one, get lined up with mega businesses or just businesses, and it doesn't have to be mega businesses, just businesses in general. There's going to be those, I call them go-betweens, that help facilitate these deals. Open Doors is an example, but Open Doors is it's mostly social media.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is not all social media though. I mean, that's not what this is. That's I was talking about the tracks. Open Doors is really strong with that track, the social media part. There's other tracks though that can be tapped, and that's what everybody's trying to figure out. And it's a little bit wild, wild west. And there's some people that are going to take advantage of the wild, wild west right now. Now, do you feel comfortable with all that?
How far behind can you fall in NIL before you can just have somebody step up and pick it up for you?
It's a good question. We're so early in
July
the
1st. We're not even a
month
into it yet.
So it's hard to say.
But let's say Nebraska again this year. It's slow in terms of people stepping up to the plate to offer big deals. But let's say they go 7-5. Not where you want to be, but at least it's progress.
I don't know how that looks.
Then do you start seeing?
I don't know.
More dealers step up.
I gave the Austin Allen example. The other example. Now it's interesting because there was two of Nebraska's prominent players that both were asked about this on Thursday. Deontay Williams was the other one, and he said the same thing that Austin did, Jake. Haven't been affected at all. Deontay Williams said, I'll get my money in the NFL. Okay. He wasn't worried about it. I mean, he wasn't actively soliciting. Austin Allen did say, hey, if someone's interested, I'm here,
Right.
But it hasn't, those are two of Nebraska's most prominent players. I'd say two of their top. Once you say Austin Allen and Deontay Williams are two of their top 5 or 6 guys, yeah, definitely. They haven't been affected by it at all. Now, that's sort of interesting.
It's telling about where Nebraska's at, though, in terms of the belief in the program.
Oh,
a
it
little
could
bit.
be that, or it could be just it's so new. I think
it's
businesses
a combination of both. If Nebraska were coming off of a 11-2 season, I think you'd be hearing more deals out there.
Maybe it's so early.
I really do.
It's so early, and I don't think businesses know how to go about it.
Why, if it's early, then why is Bama's quarterback have $1 million?
Because that's Alabama, and that's the Alabama.
So we thought we were ahead, and they're just like, "No, we're ahead of you already. Still here too. Good try."
Yeah, well,
you'll always be behind. Roll Tide, roll, baby.
Well, I mean, I don't know how it's going in a place like Oklahoma. Although Spencer Rattler's getting loaded.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I mean, with money, and
I know.
Here's the deal.
My head, like, this is just.
Here's the deal,
painful.
though. That's quarterbacks. That's the other thing. That's what Ryan Day addressed in Indy. This is a quarterback, running back, receiver conversation. It is.
Okay, and what you have, Adrian's just getting degree deodorant. Is that what he's got right now?
Oh, he's got no. He's
what else does
Adrian's
he
doing
have?
pretty good.
What else does he have?
Oh, like a supplement.
Okay.
But
But he's not in the same category as Rattler.
No,
Obviously,
he's not.
He's not.
I don't know what Adrian's at. Nobody knows. I don't even think anybody at Nebraska, including Frost, could tell you where Adrian's at in terms of dollars, because it's not really our business, is it? It's not really even Scott's business. Adrian's done I would say the best out of anybody. And that's what, hey, Jake, that's what it's going to be pretty much all the time,
understood.
right? Quarterback, running back, receiver, skill guys. They're going to make the money. That's what Ryan Day has a problem with.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, though?
Ryan Day has that problem.
He wants the pool of money.
Yeah, he wants a pool of money and businesses to put in money in a pool and then spread it out to everybody. So the left guard's making $10,000. That's not really capitalism. That's not really
socialism.
That's not the way it's designed. That's not the way it should be designed. I was surprised he went
I'm
down that road.
surprised he said that too.
Yeah.
I get the premise, but that's what you've been saying. We said that for a whole year about this in terms of is there going to be fair compensation all the way around? Are guys going to feel like they're making what they should when somebody else is having a bad game and they're making more money?
So that's
still in play.
So for people that missed it, Ryan Day went into a long soliloquy about that at Big Ten Media Days, that his quarterback is going to make a lot of money, but he's concerned about the rest of the team.
Well, that's why we're all hesitant. That's why you and I were hesitant about NIL, because that's going to be in play. That concern is going to be valid.
Ryan Day voiced it. You can go just Google it and you'll see what his concern is.
And what he said is what we have said for a long time.
But what Ryan Day's suggesting is basically, I don't know, would you call that price fixing? I mean, I don't know if you can do that, right?
No, you can't. I don't think you can.
Did you enjoy that conversation?
No, I did not. There was textures there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone says, "I'm sick of NIL. Thank God football is just a month away."
Okay, that's the good news. That's true. We won't be talking about NIL.
1 month from football today, exactly.
We won't be talking about NIL. We won't be talking about it. I don't think, will we?
Someone says, "Just play football." All caps.
Yeah.
Parker Gabriel is up next on Early Break in the Ticket.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonzal Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit bonzalpool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonzal Pool and Spa.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and now I'm protecting it with the COVID vaccine. Everyone 12 years and older can too. Get vaccinated and stay strong. Learn more at healthylincoln.org.
Hello, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
I sure am, Charlie. Great to talk to you again.
Andy, I know you're selling a lot of cars right now, but I hear you still have a lot of cars available.
We do, Charlie. In fact, we still have over 500 new 2021 Hondas to choose from in stock or on the way, with 0% APR financing available on select models.
What about new 2022 Hondas, Andy?
You know, we actually have quite a few in stock already, and they're arriving every day.
Now, I'm going to assume since you're selling a lot of new cars, you have some great trade-ins available too. How is the selection of pre-owned?
It's the largest selection of pre-owned we've ever had, Charlie, with over 160 to choose from. People can choose from just about any make and model you can imagine.
Thanks, Andy. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Baseball's back in Lincoln. Salt Dogs Baseball has returned, and we're celebrating their 20th season all summer long. In honor of the 20th season, the Salt Dogs are offering specials at every homestand May to September. Come on out for Nebraska Medical Association Thank You Tuesdays, Fairbury Brand Wiener Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays, Fireworks Fridays, Souvenir Saturdays, and Sunday Family Fun Days brought to you by Casey's. Get your tickets for the Salt Dogs celebration season at saltdogs.com.
If you're feeling past your prime with low libido, fatigue, or weight gain, you might be experiencing low T. At Vitalize Health, they can help treat low T and get you back on track. Rami and Jackie have focused their careers on whole body wellness and can help with everything from testosterone replacement to Botox to help the outside match the inside and regain your youthful appearance. Vitalize Health does accept insurance. Call them today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Anybody who knows me knows I was cocky out of the womb.
Is Early Break with Zip and Jake, brought to you by Gaina Trucking. Weekday mornings from 6 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It has been a couple weeks since we've had the chance to talk to your colleague, the Journal Star's Parker Gabriel. Got married. Congrats to Parker on that. But before we talk to Parker, we have not played his proper intro for 2 weeks. So let's get to that right now on this fine, beautiful, hot Double Barrel Wednesday. Double Barrel Wednesday. It's a Double Barrel Wednesday.
Double Barrel Wednesday had some pop, didn't it? Very good job by Parker on Double Barrel Wednesday.
You guys know what day it is? It's Double Barrel Wednesday.
And we are now joined by Parker Gabriel. Parker, welcome back. Fall camp is 2 days away. Are you ready for fall camp, man?
Are you ready?
Has it hit you
yet?
yet?
Oh yeah. Good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm ready. It's funny because it was a short summer. We've talked about this a lot with the spring ball being later than normal and then week 0 and all that. So, it was a short summer, but even still, it feels like a long time coming. And I'm sure it definitely feels like a long time coming for fans because nobody's, been able to be at Memorial Stadium, except for a few reporters and obviously families and stuff like that for a long time. So yeah, it feels, there's some anticipation, even though it was sort of an odd off season, short off season, and all that. And I think that's obviously only going to grow over the next 4 weeks.
Parker Gabriel joins us. He's the beat writer for the Nebraska football team for the Journal Star. So you'll have Sean. Hey, we had Sean Callahan on earlier, Parker, and he sort of,
who's that?
He works for HuskerOnline.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he struggled to identify a real intriguing storyline going into preseason camp. I was sort of surprised. What are you most interested in going into preseason camp, which begins Friday?
Yeah, that's interesting because, and I think we were talking a little bit about this in the office yesterday, Sipple. I mean, it's interesting because I think there's a lot of storylines that are intriguing. But the thing about it is, if you really, you taught me this. If you really think about what do the fans want to know,
Yeah.
like of course there's some interesting things. Who's going to win the right guard job? Some of the newcomers, like what are Mari Toure and Chris Kolarevic going to look like in action? How healthy is Marquise Stepp? What's in store for Adrian Martinez in year 4? Like these are all questions that are interesting. These are all questions that we're going to talk about over the course of preseason camp. But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of people out there who just want to see the team play and see for themselves whether they're, where the improvements are and whether they've improved enough to really make a run at a better season than they've had in the past couple of years. And you're going to get an idea of that against Illinois, but you're really not going to know that, so to speak, until, I don't know, a month into the season, maybe, after you've seen them play a variety of caliber of opponents. And so I don't know if this is exactly what Sean meant when he wasn't sure about intriguing storylines, but like, I sort of get this sense of like whatever gets talked about and whatever gets written about over the last month, some of the responding sentiment from the fan base is going to be like, yeah, we just want to see them play and see if they're really better.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's an interesting situation to be in. I think there's a little bit of that every year, but I think that sense, just my guess, that sense might be heightened this year.
We've discussed, to answer the question for us, Parker, that it feels that for me and Sip that the running back spot's pretty dang important as far as intriguing, because you have the optic of a true freshman, Gabe Ervin, who looked good in the spring. You also have a guy that you transferred from USC we didn't see in the spring, in Marquise Stepp. And you mentioned that, Parker, there in terms of your intriguing things. But I'm curious, what do you think that picture looks like here as we start things up on Friday and as the weeks go on in fall camp?
Yeah, I think right now, today, it looks wide open. I think any of those 6 guys, those 6 scholarship guys in Ryan Held's group could legitimately make a run at the job. And, I think there's a couple guys that are probably in, maybe slightly better position coming out of the spring. You don't know exactly how summer conditioning, that had an impact. You don't know exactly what it is right now just because we haven't been around very much. But, I know I talked to Ryan Held during the Big Red Blitz last month, and there was he's excited about the group, but he also understands that it doesn't do a lot of good to talk a lot about that excitement right now because all those guys are unproven. So it's one of those things where it's like, you got a bunch of new toys and you're like, oh, this could be kind of cool. But you don't really know until you put them in a real pressure situation, how they're going to react. I think if I was just handicapping it, I think the 2 young guys, Gabe Ervin and Jaquez Yant, are going to have some sort of say in that room this year. And then after that, a lot of it depends on Marquise Stepp's health. Can they get a long, healthy stretch of football for Savion Morrison? I mean, that's his ticket to getting on the field. Is just he's had a variety of things happen. Some of them, outside his control, just from a health standpoint. If he gets a really good long 4-month stretch of healthy football, he might be in that conversation. You certainly can't count out a guy like Ramir Johnson, who's been around for a couple of years and all that. So there's a lot of names involved. I tend to think that it's going to be hard to knock Gabe Ervin and Jaquez Yant out of the conversation. Marvin Scott got more playing time than any of those guys last year. It wasn't all that much, but it was more. And so I start with those two young guys and then just kind of see what happens from there.
Parker Gabriel joins us. We really zoomed in there. Now we're going to zoom out. Okay, Parker.
Zoom out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I know these are challenging times. Let's zoom out though. What, in your opinion, this is an opinion question, but you've been covering team sports now for a fair amount of time. What impact do you think a move like a new AD in July has on a football player? when do they size up the situation in your, I mean, is that what happens with players?
Yeah, one of the things I've learned covering college athletics is that college athletes are really smart. You know, I mean that they're around a lot. They don't miss much. You know, like if there's something amiss, you know, players are probably going to know just because they spend so much time on campus. They spend so much time in the building. You know, they know what's real and what's not. That being said, I sort of doubt that day-to-day life is much different for your average football player today with Trev Alberts in charge than it was 2 months ago with Bill Moose in charge. I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, there might be little things that are different, or maybe you know, maybe when Bill Moose left, there's some people that looked around and said, why did that happen now? But for the most part, I mean, I think that probably is something that is more impactful on administration and on the football coach than it is on players. And then, you know, overall, sure, like the culture of a place changes gradually over time, depending on who the leaders are. And so there will be some impact, or there'll be some things that change, or some feeling that'll be a little bit different here and there, probably over the long term. But just like today compared to, you know, I don't know, May 1st or something like that, I'm not sure that those guys would tell you that it feels like a different place because somebody else is in the top chair.
Parker, I was looking at your most intriguing Huskers list you had on the Journal Star. You have number 3, Turner Corcoran at left tackle. Of course, we saw him play one game last year against Rutgers. Looked good in there, replacing Brendan Hymas, who had left for the draft at that point. But I'm curious, when you look at him, do you expect him to be pretty solid from the get-go, or do you expect some issues there? What is the expectation, you believe, for young Turner Corcoran?
Yeah, I think I think a big chunk of the intrigue is just learning the answer to exactly that question, Jake. I mean, you know, he looked good against Rutgers, and then it was interesting this spring. Like the first time Greg Austin talked this spring, he was pretty glowing about a lot of guys, and with Corcoran, he sort of was like, yeah, he's doing okay, you know, basically. And later in the spring, Corcoran talked about how he felt like he struggled early on in spring ball, but something sort of clicked for him, and he was very eloquent and I thought very thoughtful in talking about how he said something like, I just sort of one day it clicked. I just sort of learned how I wanted to play it. I just sort of figured it out, like my style, my approach, all of this. He felt like something, you know, really fell into place for him over the course of the month of April. And so I just think it's going to be interesting to see, because he's got a world of talent and he's really physically impressive. And when you combine those things, you're just interested to see how fast the level of play follows. Now, for some guys, it never does. I'm not talking about Turner here. You know, some guys, they look like they can really do it and it just never clicks for whatever reason. For other guys, it does right away, and for some guys, it's somewhere in between. And so with Turner, you know, like I don't. The thing that is interesting to me is when you look at the physical package and you look at the talent, he looks like a guy who can be one of the best offensive linemen in the Big Ten. Now, like, is he going to be that right away? Is he going to be that 2 years from now? Like that's interesting. He's got a ton of upside. Nobody denies that. And then it's just a matter of, like, how fast are we talking about him filling that? You just don't really know until you throw him out there week after week. So that's a pretty interesting picture to have, you know, at a cornerstone position for a guy who, you know, technically this year is still a true freshman.
Parker, always good stuff. Thank you for the time, and we will chat with you again in the middle of fall camp next week.
Ooh,
yeah, it's going to be on, and you know, it's once you start going and camp's going, and you feel a little pressure because there's all kinds of stuff going on at some point. You know, sometimes it revs up a little bit, and you just got to say, "Hey, look, shut up."
Yeah, as one should.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah,
as one
Jake
definitely
knows.
should.
Jake knows all about that.
Parker, thanks for the
Thank
time.
you, Parker.
We'll talk to you next week, man. Good stuff.
Good job.
Yep, you guys.
Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal Star, back from vacation.
Yeah. It's
honeymoon
amazing.
wedding.
Hey, how about the beat writer coming on right away and talking about the right guard position?
I love it. Isn't that oh, it's beautiful. We're back. We're back.
The first
Let's
thing
go.
you mentioned is that battle at right guard.
Yes. Woo.
Yeah.
All right, let's play the game show. Give us a call right now at 464-5685. Your chance to win a business box of bagels to Bagels and Joe. You are 1-1 on the week today because it's the storyline in all of the NFL. Xavier Howard of my Dolphins wants to trade. He's one of the best defensive backs in the NFL. On that note, how about other top NFL defensive backs? What teams do these defensive backs play for? 464-5685. Shut Up Sipple starts right now.
We've all been there. You're listening to the radio, and then that rage starts to grow inside of you. It starts to consume you. It gets to a point where you just want to yell, "Shut up, Sipple!" No, sorry. I'm sorry. Well, here's your chance. It's time to shut up, Sipple. Call now to play. 464-5685. Shut up, Sipple. Brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
All right, 464-5685. Call the Nicktown Sip and Trivia. How do you feel about current NFL top defensive backs?
Like I have a 1 in 32 chance.
All right,
on
well,
every
you
one.
should. You
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
David, how are you feeling about NFL defensive backs?
It kind of depends on who it is.
Okay.
That's a good answer. Here's your first question, David. Here we go. What team does defensive back Marlon Humphrey play for in the NFL?
He plays for the Ravens.
The Ravens is correct. A 1-0 lead. Marlon Humphrey.
No, I wouldn't have had it. I would not have had
You
that.
my question. That's good.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
Okay, Sip for the tie. Your first question. What team does J.C. Jackson play for?
Let's see. If
Second last year in NFL interceptions.
If I were J.C. Jackson.
Yep.
Oh,
J.C.
he's second.
Jackson.
Yeah, second.
He was second behind my man Xavier Howard in picks last year.
J.C. Jackson.
J.C. Jackson. 5 seconds.
Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. No. Not the Bills. David, do you want that one or not?
Yeah, Sip, you're pretty close, but it's the Patriots.
You were in the right division. You were in the right division. David's
Job,
looking
David.
off to a good start here. For the 3-0 sweep, David, your last question. What team does Jair Alexander play for?
I've never heard of this guy. Okay. Let's say he plays for the Lions.
Sip, you got to give this one a chance to
Yeah.
stay alive.
Yeah, he plays for the Seahawks.
Is he a Seattle Seahawk? No, he is on the Green Bay Packers, top defensive back. So, David, nice work. We'll get you bagels. Thanks for calling and call in down the road.
All right, thank you guys.
All right,
Stuff,
thank you, David.
waited for a while to
Dave-
get on the show today.
Yeah,
so
David
he
was
wanted
very
that.
pleasant. He won the bagels. Congratulations to David. Thank you to Bagels and Joe.
Yes.
For feeding the masses in Lincoln that win.
And for providing me this excellent coffee. Look at that in the video stream this morning. Look at that beautiful tumbler.
Yeah.
Dark roast coffee. Keep me awake this morning.
Yeah. That was a backhanded slam at me.
Oh, wait, was it?
Yeah,
Was
a
it?
little bit. That was a rocky. It was a little rocky today.
Yeah, they can't always be smooth sailing, you know.
Okay, can we tell our listeners something?
What?
We're done with NIL.
That's not true. Today we are.
Today we are.
Yeah, we're done for today. We're done with NIL.
Yeah.
It will come back probably tomorrow. though.
No, it's not coming back. No, it's not. It's not coming
We got
back
Mike
tomorrow.
Schaefer tomorrow.
People don't want to talk about it.
We've
Isn't
got-
that the way? Is that what you're hearing on the text line?
Some people.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that just don't want to talk about
We
it.
will be graced for the first time in weeks by Mike Schaefer.
Yeah, we're not talking
tomorrow.
Oh, I guess we
I look
can ask
forward
him.
to that. At least.
Yeah, we might have to ask him about
Oh,
the
yeah.
NIL world.
We're
and
talking to him
recruiting.
about NIL. We'll wrap things up next. An early break in the ticket.
Hi, Andy Neal of Cartridge World. We are not a big box store that sells everything and specializes in nothing. Cartridge World is your local expert when it comes to streamlining office printing and scanning. No big box can match our proven no-cost lease program. We customize solutions that supply you with multifunction printers and all the required service just for buying Cartridge World ink and toner at a 30% savings. Call for a no-cost consultation, 464-3455, or go online to cartridgeworld.com.
Bagels and Joe is ready for the summer with peaches and cream cheese. Great on any bagel. Don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches, and grab a business box of bagels for the work crew. Bagels and Joe with 4 Lincoln locations. Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus, as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs. Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonsall Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit bonsallpool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonsall Pool and Spa.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Heat advisories will remain in effect this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon as the heat and humidity linger on. We'll top out near 99 today. It will feel closer to 105. Tonight, a low down to around 75. A high of 97 tomorrow with heat index values again well over 100. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
I sure am, Charlie. Great to talk to you again.
Andy, I know you're selling a lot of cars right now, but I hear you still have a lot of cars available.
We do, Charlie. In fact, we still have over 500 new 2021 Hondas to choose from in stock or on the way, with 0% APR financing available on select models.
What about new 2022 Hondas, Andy?
You know, we actually have quite a few in stock already, and they're arriving every day.
Now, I'm going to assume, since you're selling a lot of new cars, you have some great trade-ins available too. How is the selection of pre-owned?
It's the largest selection of pre-owned we've ever had, Charlie, with over 160 to choose from. People can choose from just about any make and model you can imagine.
Thanks, Andy. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This
I'm not on drugs. I'm not drunk.
is Early Break with Sip and Jay, brought to you by Gaina Trucking. Weekday mornings from 6 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Fun show, contentious show, whatever you want to call it. It's almost over. You can listen to the podcast at theticketfm.com. If you missed any of the shows today.
It did go fast.
Sean Callahan, Parker Gabriel, always insightful as always. They're locked in as we head into fall camp starting up on Friday.
Thanks to those guys.
We always appreciate them.
Yeah, and thanks to you. Thanks
and to you and the listeners. Tim called this morning. We had David call this morning.
Yes.
Derek called earlier
Derek.
too. Yeah.
David for the game show.
Yep.
Active
Tim
text
and
line.
Derek called earlier on today.
A lot of people watching.
Yeah, we had a lot of viewers. Thank you. And keep doing that on the Sauter Heyman Jewelers video stream on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube.
Yeah, I'm promise we'll be a little bit better behaved tomorrow.
You can't promise that. Don't promise things you can't.
Oh, I can't.
You can't back up, you know. I mean,
I can't.
Come on.
Yeah. Let's talk about the NBA draft. How much you don't know about it.
So, yeah, tomorrow night is the NBA draft. And I was looking at some names, you know, yesterday in terms of who's going high in this draft and what names do I know.
You know Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, let's go through that. Cade Cunningham, Oklahoma State.
He's projected number 1 to Detroit. You know all about him. He's an excellent player for Oklahoma State. Now there's been some late speculation that the Pistons cooled on him. So that
there's also been speculation that Thunder might try to trade up to number 1.
Okay.
I saw that.
Jalen Green is projected. This is by CBSSports.com. Jalen Green is projected to be the number 2 pick by the Rockets. Now, Jalen Green is a G League player. Evan Mobley is projected number 3. You saw him in the NCAA tournament, right? He's a 7-footer for USC. you are familiar with Evan Mobley. You are familiar.
I mean, okay, somewhat familiar. I saw him play in the tournament. That's it. I didn't watch him play this year at all. I watched him play
He's on the
3
West
games,
Coast. He's on
2
the
or
West
3
Coast,
games.
right.
That's it.
So Jalen Suggs.
Yeah,
they're
it's
very-
Gonzaga. I know him.
Yeah, he's projected to go 4 to the Raptors. Now I got to admit.
Okay, let's go from there. How's it go from this?
Scotty Barnes at Florida
Never heard
State.
of him.
He played at Florida State.
Don't know who he is.
Average 10 a game.
10 a game gets you 5th overall. That's what I'm saying. John
Projection.
DeMoine, I'm talking to you. That's not a great draft. You can't tell me that a guy I'm talking to the camera. John, if you're listening and watching, 10 points a game does not get you the 5th overall pick. It's a bad draft. It's a bad class. Just accept
It's
it.
not bad because you haven't heard of him.
Bad class.
Okay.
Accept it.
6th overall projection by CBS Sports, James Bonite.
Okay, he was
Connecticut.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Shooting guard.
I don't think that's. I think his name is pronounced differently.
Yeah,
but
probably.
Book night.
Yeah. Jonathan. Okay. Now you wouldn't know that.
Give me his name.
Seventh
Is he a
projected
foreigner?
pick by the Timberwolves. He's from the Congo. Jonathan Kuminga.
Okay.
Small forward.
Small forward.
Yeah. You wouldn't know the projected 8th pick to the Bulls. He's from Turkey. I'm not going to try his name.
I'd like you to try though, for the sake of the listeners.
Alperen Sengun.
I gotta look at this up and see what.
I think I'm dead on. Pick 9, you do know, and I am surprised. Now, this would back your contention that it's not a terribly strong draft. Franz Wagner is projected as the 9th pick to Sacramento. Now, Franz Wagner, we watched a lot of, and he's a good player, right? But he could disappear in games.
Yeah.
He averaged 12.5 points a game. Now, he's a good player. I like him. I liked Mo, his brother. But Franz projected at number 9 does sort of back your contention that it's not a terribly strong draft. Again, he's an interesting player. He's 6'9", 220, runs the floor really well. But he disappeared in college games. Okay, and we'll just stop at pick 10.
Yep.
Pick 10, New Orleans Pelicans are projected to pick a kid from Australia named Josh Giddey. So, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of names you don't know.
It's
here.
hard to assess until a couple years down the road, but I'm calling it right now. This is not a good draft class. It will not result in any one, at the most, one superstar. How about that? How about that for a take? Take it to the bank.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hot round! Red 7, red 7, red 7! Hot round! Now! Set! Hut!
Will you be watching tomorrow night's NBA draft at all?
Tomorrow, very possible.
Tomorrow night.
Very possible. Nebraska has its media day.
Yes.
I'm going to be writing about
Oh,
Adrian
yeah.
Martinez. I'll probably have that column wrapped up fairly early. So, yeah, I think I might check it out.
Do that.
I'll do it for the sake of the show.
Do that.
For the sake of the show.
All right. For Steve Sipple, I'm Jake Sorensen. See you.
Need a better job? Looking for a career? Dana Trucking and Excavating is what you're looking for. They are a rapidly growing company looking for a heavy mechanic. Dana Trucking and Excavating offers a team culture with lots of benefits,